So I wanted to talk about traveling as a Black American. I actually think it's super cool, to be honest, because when I get to I'm in China right now. When I get to most places, to be honest, most people have seen and heard about my culture before I've gotten here. They have seen the best singers in the world, the best dancers in the world. All the new songs that they like to mimic and copy came from us. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, oh my God, Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, Denzel Washington, like Barack Obama, Kamala Harris. So before I even get here, they have spent 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years imbibing my culture. And then I show up and I might be the first Black person they've met. Or they've met them in military bases. Or they've met them in that regard. But, I mean, if you've been imbibing anyone's culture for 60 years, 50 years before you met the first person from that culture, generally it's just curiosity. Like, the only other person I would think who's just as well known is like, and this might not be true, but like in the United States, I grew up watching National Geographic and just different shows, and they'd always show the Australian Aboriginals, and they're indigenous Aboriginal people. Like, I've always seen them, right? So my whole life I grew up like they're like one of the known Aboriginal people in the whole world, so indigenous to the land, like they were here before everyone else. And then I've never met an Aboriginal, but if I did, I'm like, I've spent like 60 years learning about you. So like I would, and I'm not saying I have, but I can understand the curiosity. Like, I'm curious to know so much about you, but I've never met you. There's curiosity that sparks versus they've seen Americans, and Americans have visited, white Americans. There's no curiosity there. I think they know what they need to know. So, and I'm in China right now, but I've been to Singapore, Costa Rica, Spain, England, France, Italy, Belgium, Mexico, Panama, Nicaragua, Australia, New Zealand. So I'm not saying I've been everywhere, but I've been enough places where it's like, yeah, it's pretty consistent. Like, traveling as a Black American is just really an interesting spot because there's just so much curiosity generally towards like, what's the truth about your culture I've imbibed. And Black Americans, we're generally community oriented. I like to say we have the biggest community on the planet because we have all of America. Black people are generally our community. Of course, there's pros and cons. Like, you'll hear some of us call them coons if you're conservative, if you act white. Like, there's different parts of us, but like in general, when you see a Black person in the States, like saying hello, even in New York, they're like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, like it's not too hard to break the ice if they're Black American. And the immigrants, they just sort of look at you, Black immigrants, because they're not necessarily on that time, unless they're Black, like South American Black people. Then they tend to have that like that American culture of being able to just say hi, hello, and communicate. It's a very American thing from America, North America, America. It's Canada, America, Mexico, South America. We're all American. So there is a bit of a difference. And so they come from outside of it. They don't have the same culture. But yeah, and so we're good at building community because like I've been traveling and like I stay for like a week at a time, and it's funny because it might be, you know, the first few days no one really talks to you, but the fourth day people are like, hey, who are you, right? And then they want to reach out and start to know, and that's just natural, staying anywhere for longer than a few days and you're new in a place where you walk everywhere. People just get accustomed to you. But I must say, our ability to create a community anywhere is a gift, and not everyone has it. And so they're slightly curious. I am open and know how to build community and form community anywhere you go, because that's something that we teach culturally into our culture. You guys don't know that, right? You think it's all, you know, and so it's actually really chill and really cool, and like, you know, and it's also interesting because of politics, because people know we're the politics of the socialist democratic leaning area, so trying to push towards more equality and more egalitarian. So when people ask me about Trump or the United States, for the most part, if they're knowledgeable, they're not including us as part of the mess. So it's interesting, another barrier broken down, because we can commiserate together against like the conservatives in the United States. So to Black Americans thinking to travel more, just like understand, I didn't say Black, I said Black American, because sometimes there is issues if they think you might be an African immigrant. Immigrants have a different reception. Immigrants in any community it's just not. I'm cool with immigrants, but like any country that has a big population of immigrants, they're not going to be happy with that group. It just is what it is. It's the nature of immigration, right? So just keep that in mind. But as a Black American, once they find out you're American, it is generally a different, and Black American at that, with our particular culture that they've loved their whole life, it's been different. And the first time I saw that, I was 19 and I went to Costa Rica. Then I went on a week-long trip to Nicaragua, and not knowing anything, but it's the same now, 20 years later. The first thing I find was, and I'm always finding like a group of teenagers, and we're just sitting there and they're like, oh, what about this song and this song? We're singing songs together. Like, I'm 19, they're 15, and there's like a group of them, and they're just happy to be like, oh, what about Britney? Or what about Eminem? Or what about this and this and this? And like, I went to Iceland, it was the same thing. Like, they're just showing me who their favorites are. I'm sharing my favorites. It's just cultural exchange. I'm not doing the same here in China, but like, it's just so consistent. Like, it's just a beautiful cultural exchange that generally takes place, and that's been happening since I started traveling 27 years ago, and it hasn't changed. They're just happy to talk to someone about Michael Jordan or LeBron or someone they've seen who's inspired them. So, and then like I said, it's I've seen other people who are like, oh, it's hard to make friends in France, and like, it's not for us, and that is like a gift that we have, because we do know how to form community and form bonds. So it's like, Black Americans, like there's a unique place for us in being the ambassadors of like our culture, and also being able to form community and really integrate into society. And, people are like, oh, in this place you feel lonely. And I'm like, I just don't have that. And it might just be me, but I tend to see all of us out here, because I follow Black travel bloggers and Black expats. We're all settled, and so that's like a unique gift that we have as part of our culture. We know how to build and form communities no matter where we go. So I just haven't had that loneliness in any of these things. So so this is just a square. I'm going on my way to do some traditional Chinese medicine that I tried it once and I really liked it. It's like they use like a root to like burn away the different things, and it's really cool. But Black American travel is super cool. I love it. And it's very unique, because I don't know if everyone has that thing. Maybe they do. Maybe when Japanese people, there's so much rich culture that they have when they travel, and people finally meet them, they're like, oh my God, I've heard this about your culture. Maybe when you're French, I don't know if French has like a good reputation. But I'm sure people are happy to meet them. But like, everyone has their unique thing that like when they travel and people finally meet them, they're excited. But like for us, it's just so rich. We have such a rich culture. There's so many aspects in which like I relate. Sometimes it's civil. Like when I was in France, it's a very educated population. Half the time we're talking about James Baldwin, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, right? Like we're talking about civil rights and liberty and equality and the fight for freedom and justice, which makes sense when I'm in France, right? And that's just the people I tend to gravitate towards. And then in other places, like it's, oh my God, all the women R&B singers. And then in other places, it's all the rap singers. And in other places, it's like all of our athletes and da-da-da-da-da. But in all of it, we have such a rich, dynamic culture that like we get to share in all of those aspects. And they're just happy to finally have someone from the culture and from the land to share with, not other white people in Iceland. When I was in Iceland, that happened, right? And so it's just beautiful. So like, have fun with it. Like that's part of our gift. That's something that's very special. So don't take on other people's like hardships. Like just understand like we are unique. We're unique in this world. And I find that uniqueness is really appreciated and integrated, and then our own presence of being able to form community and build trust and bonds quickly is also a benefit as well. So like travel has just been really fun.